My name is Ken, but my friends call me Ken Dog, and I'm inviting you to join me as I travel down the Mother Road, Route 66. After leaving Chicago far behind me and coming through Joliet to see all the Blues Brothers stuff they have there, I was back out on Route 66 headed south or west, however you want to look at it. It was a nice drive. I mean, lots of cornfields. Not a whole lot to see as you can see here, but beautiful, beautiful country nonetheless. And right up ahead here is where I was headed, to the town of Wilmington, Illinois. Now, I'll be honest with you, and you're probably going to hear me say this a lot if you watch my entire Route 66 series, I'd never heard of this town before, at all. But what I was looking for is right ahead there, and you can start to see it if you look close. He's up ahead here on the right next to this place called the launching pad. Yeah, that's the Gemini Giant. Route 66 is famous for its giants. They're actually old muffler men. If you look at the way he's holding that rocket, where he's got his right hand up, his left hand down, they used to hold mufflers like that back in the day. So the giants along the way will hold all sorts of different things. In this case, he's holding a rocket ship there, right? So the Gemini Giant has sat here in Wilmington since 1965. And as of the day I was there, September 5th, 2023, he was sitting outside the launching pad still. It's a restaurant and welcome center for Route 66 that is no longer open. It was not open that day. He has since been auctioned off and moved to a different location in town, but he still stands tall. After checking out the Gemini Giant, I headed into town, honestly. I wanted to see what this little town had to offer, little Wilmington, Illinois, since I'd never been there. Unless I do Route 66 again, I don't know that I'll ever be back, honestly. So I wanted to go check it out, and they have a lot of stuff that they have branded with the Route 66. Boy, you can tell you're in the Midwest when you see an old style sign like that. Loved it, absolutely loved it. This little town, man, seemed like a place I could live. I really enjoyed my time there. It was time to get back out on the road and down Route 66. My next stop was just up the road a little ways in Braidwood, Illinois, at the Polka Dot Diner. This place was cool. You know, growing up, I used to work in 50s style restaurants, so I absolutely loved my stop here. I didn't go in, I didn't get anything to eat. I really should have. I was still full from breakfast, so next time for sure, I will definitely do it, even if it is just through the drive-thru. But this place was really cool. They're decorated up so nice with their outdoor seating. They've got indoor seating, but check out these fiberglass statues they got here. This was really neat to see. We got the king right here, Maryland. There's old James Dean standing tall right there. And last but not least, Miss Betty Boop. Yeah, you can't have a 50s and 60s diner kind of place without something like this, but usually they're just painted on the wall. These are actual fiberglass statues that you can go up and take pictures with, so that was really neat. And across the way on the other side, we got the Man of Steel. Yeah, I don't know why Superman was there. I have no clue. I don't know what his connection is, but that was kind of cool to see. And here's another one of the king himself, Elvis, standing there singing to us. So yeah, I love this stop. I really wish I could have spent more time, but of course when you're doing a Route 66 trip, you've got to be very mindful of your time, because unless you've got weeks to do it, you got to keep moving down the road. And that's what I did. Took one quick picture across the street of what they call the Braidwood Zoo, and I was on the road. One of the main reasons why I've been enjoying this trip down Route 66 is I just love being out on the road. Just driving from place to place, checking it out, seeing the sights. Like this road here, some people look at it and go, it's just a road. There's trees on either side, brush, whatever. Not me, man. I see the beauty in it, absolutely. I know that might sound corny, but it's true. I absolutely love being out on the road. A full tank of gas equals freedom to me, and I love it. So this is spectacular to me. I love driving down roads like this, and of course, since it's Route 66, all the better. My next stop was in Gardner, Illinois at the shop on Route 66. Yeah, one little look at this one I knew I was coming by because I am a big fan of Coca-Cola. Not only the beverage, though I don't drink it as much as I used to, but I love their merchandise, just everything involved in Coke, everything. So I knew that I wanted to come in and check this place out. So I did. It was quite windy that day. I do remember that, and I wanted to get in because it was a little bit chilly. We had that storm coming in. You can see it up there in the sky. It's starting to look a little angry. But yeah, this is awesome. I love how he's got it decorated with everything about the route. So let's go in, check it out. I absolutely love this stop. I spent way too much time there. I was probably actually there about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, just checking out all of his stuff. Couldn't help but notice this vodka, Kirkland Signature. I work for Costco. That caught my attention. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But yeah, everything, everything. The polar bears, I love the Coca-Cola polar bears. And he's got this really, really cool photo opportunity here. And he'll take the picture for you as well. I love that. Absolutely love that. Such a cool stop. If you get the chance, stop by, see the owner Tom. He will be more than happy to tell you the history of this place. And, if you're inquisitive and ask about that vodka, he might actually share a little bit of his homemade winter drink that he makes. That was so great. But unfortunately, it was time for me to go. So we took one more quick photo here, and then I was headed down the road. I had spent so much time at that shop that I really didn't get much more time to check out like this 2-sale gel here in Gardner, as well as this little streetcar diner here. I really wished I had. Just made a quick drive-by, took a few pictures, had to keep going. I guess maybe the next time we're in town I'll do that. But my next stop was in Dwight, Illinois. I love these little Route 66 signs here. Really kind of cool to be able to get pictures on it. I've done a few times where I've gone out and sat in there and tried taking a selfie. My arms aren't that long. But this was kind of a neat little park right here with this old school sign here for the Ambler Becker gas station, which was actually right behind me, and I'll show that here in a little bit. But I really dig these little things here, these little parks, these little stops along the route. So cool to see. The Ambler Becker Texaco gas station was named after longtime manager Tubby Ambler, who operated the station from 1938 to 1966. Once he sold it, it continued to stay as a gas station until 1999. It is currently owned by the village of Dwight there, who has restored it back to its heyday. So it's what it looked like back when it was really, really popular along Route 66. In 2001, it was put on the National Register of Historic Places as well, so it's going to be around for a long, long time. I love these little gas stations like this, and there are a ton of them along Route 66. It wasn't open that day, so I couldn't go in to check it out, but it was still cool to get to see it because it's history, absolutely history. Just across the way from the old Ambler Becker gas station is this one here. This is the old Route 66 family restaurant. It's been around since November of 2001, but its recipes date back into the 1970s when Grandpa Jimmy had his own place. Yeah, it really looked cool. I love all of the wall art they've got here, those murals, so I wanted to take some time to check it out before I headed on down the road. My next stop was in Odell, Illinois at the Standard Oil gas station here. This thing's been around since 1932. It's a cute little stop. It got a little gift shop inside, but again, not to sound like a broken record, they weren't open the day I was there. And again, it appears that a lot of places were closed the day after Labor Day, taking a twofer, but it still was a fun stop to check it out and take some pictures. It always fascinates me how some places along Route 66, you're driving down it and you're actually paralleling the interstate. Now there's quite a bit of places. I first noticed this when I was in Texas, but here we are too. I mean, we are right next to the interstate. It's really kind of cool. And then you have other times when you're actually on a newer portion of Route 66 and you're paralleling the older part of Route 66. As you can see up there, it is now a decommissioned part of the old route, but we're driving right next to it. And I don't know. I just wonder what the history is of it, how many people drove down it. I mean, obviously a ton, because it used to be the way to go, right? So really wish that we could get up on part of that. And there are some spots, a few, but most of the time you just have to kind of look over at it and wonder if it could talk, what it could tell us, because it's got to have some amazing stories. Just look at it. I mean, I'm glad that they're keeping it to where at least we can see it. Surprised, really, honestly, with the way things are nowadays, that they haven't just ripped that up, but you can see where nature's taking over. It's growing over it, and how many more years is it going to be before you're not even able to see the old road? I'm glad I got to see it when I did, because it's a thing of beauty. Just on the outside of Pontiac, Illinois, they have this awesome turnout. Now, I passed it up when I first drove by, and then I noticed that I could get into it, so I circled around and came back. This is a turnout onto the old decommissioned part of Route 66. As you can see, they allow us to drive here, but then they have the road ends. Yeah, that doesn't stop some people, evidently, as you can see there, that want to continue on as much as they can. But this was kind of neat, and not only was it cool to be able to get out and step onto, but when you look over here into the cornfield, you see this old barn over here. This was known as the Cuyahoga Barn. It was a restored example of what they used to use for advertisement for the old Merrimack Caverns back in the 1950s. Yeah, that's kind of neat. This little stop here, they need to trim it back a little bit so you can really read the signage a little better, but it's still kind of a cool little spot to get out, stretch your legs, take in some history. Even if the corn was still quite a bit tall there, so you couldn't see it too well. But I just had a blast just walking parts of old Route 66 here and just taking it all in. It was a good evening. I knew I was going to be late getting into Pontiac, not able to do what I wanted to do. So at this point, I was just taking my time, absolutely taking my time. And this was a great stop. Just up the road from that pullout is the old log cabin here on the outside of Pontiac, Illinois. This place was originally built in 1926 to service cars along Illinois State Route 4, but when it became part of Route 66, just behind the restaurant, they literally jacked this restaurant up, flipped it 180 degrees, and set it back down so it could face Route 66, and that's where it's been ever since. It's a great stop with a lot of history here. Unfortunately, not to sound like a broken record, it was closed the day I was there. So, all I got to do was a quick drive-by and check things out. Maybe next time. I don't know. There's a lot of maybe next time so far, right? But it's a cool little stop, the old log cabin restaurant. Just literally up and around the corner from the old log cabin restaurant was my first of several different Burma Shave signs. So this one says, if hugging on highways is your sport, trade in your car for a Davenport. Burma Shave. Yeah, these signs are very, very popular along Route 66. They're a throwback to the old Burma Shave signs, like this one. She kissed the hairbrush by mistake. She thought it was her husband Jake. Burma Shave. Yeah, some of them don't really make a whole lot of sense, but they're fun. My whole plan for the day was to enjoy Route 66, but I really wanted to get to this point before this museum closed, and I didn't make it. There's just so much to see. You know what they say about best laid plans. But I decided to go ahead and take some time and check out all these really cool wall murals around the back side of the museum. This, of course, being the Route 66 Hall of Fame Museum in Pontiac, Illinois. I'll get to it tomorrow. I just didn't quite make it in town in time for to be able to do it today, so no big deal. I'll check it out in the morning. Getting there when it was closed did give me time to check out all these murals. I mean, most of them were advertisements, right? But they were throwbacks, to a bygone era. Some of them for different businesses in town, some of them for products. But then I came over and I saw this odd looking thing over here, and I really wanted to check it out and find out, why is there a school bus that's been converted into something strange sitting here? And come to find out, that's Bob Waldmeyer's. Bob Waldmeyer, of course, an amazing artist, very famous, known for Route 66. This is the first of many different Bob Waldmeyer stops that we'll have along this route. But this is what he called his land yacht. That's kind of cool. It's huge. You can go into it sometimes, but again, it was closed when I was there. But here is a mural just across town of the entire route, done as a tribute to Bob Waldmeyer. You can see the states there, like Kansas and Missouri there. Those are Bob Waldmeyer ones that he's done. But yeah, it is really neat to look at, especially the places I've already been to, right? So from Edmond, Oklahoma there where I live, headed over here all the way to the West Coast. I've done all of that before, so it was really neat to get to see some of these towns and relive my times when I came through there, all the way to that Santa Monica Pier, the end of the road of Route 66. And there's Bob himself painting it. Now, he didn't get to finish this, so a bunch of his friends actually finished it for him. And yes, this mural, as it says, get your kicks on Route 66 in Illinois, is 66 feet long. So I made one more stop before I left. This is on the back side of the museum again. This sign here, the Wishing Well Motel. Yeah, it's authentic. It is real, and that's the wishing well from it. And here are a bunch of bricks that once sat on Route 66. I had no idea what I was really looking at until I started reading these signs, and it just gave me goosebumps. I mean, it's really kind of cool to know that there are people out there that are willing to take history and keep it alive, so people like me and future generations will be able to enjoy it. And this is just one of those amazing, amazing stops where you can enjoy part of that history. The old Wishing Well Motel. Really cool. Make a wish, toss a coin in. As I headed to my hotel, I spotted this sign, Wally's. I've heard of Wally's. I've never been to one until now. And so once I spotted it, I'm like, yep, pulled in. I had to go check it out. I am more of a Buc-ee's fan, honestly, and you know, I love those places. I've gone to, I don't know how many. I literally don't know how many different Buc-ee's I've gone to
You're
across
welcome.
the country, but
Thank you, I should say.
I wanted to
So
check
tired,
this
I
place
said
out, so
welcome.
let's go take a walk and see what it offers. It's pretty cool, honestly. I mean, I understand why people love Wally's, and maybe it's because they've never been to a Buc-ee's, but it seems like a pretty similar place, right? But not quite. Again, I definitely prefer Buc-ee's compared to Wally's, but I enjoyed walking around, checking things out. Grabbed me a few beers to take back to my hotel. Pricing wasn't too bad. Not the best, but not bad at all. But yeah, it was kind of a neat stop. But my next spot was where I was going to sleep for the night. Finally, the day was almost over. So I checked into my room at the Holiday Inn and just, you know, man, finally was able to relax a little bit. All right, what a day it was. Just day one of this portion of Route 66. Started in Chicago this morning at 9 a.m. I am now checked into my hotel in Pontiac, and it's 6 o'clock. So I got into town a little too late to do the museum, the Hall of Fame museum there. But I did check out the grounds outside around it, as you saw. But I'm gonna have to be there tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So I'm gonna heat me up some of my pizza from Lou Malnati's last night, and I'm gonna enjoy it with a cold beer or two. And then I'll hit it bright and early tomorrow morning. So until then, I'll see you somewhere on the road.